So I got some time to kill. Right now I'm working on the Tahoe. The AC pump is good. The vacuum pump's going for the AC video. And I wasn't sure where I wanted to start this video because this whole process started probably like a month ago, a month and a half ago. But anyway, going back to 2009, 2010, I just got my license. I had my first car, which was a Saturn, and I was driving probably for 2010. I was driving for about a year. My grandfather passed away in 2010, and he had a 1966 Chrysler Newport, 4-door, you know, nothing special, but an all original car. He bought the car pretty much new in 1967, so he paid, he bought it in Reedman in Langhorne, PA. In 67, pretty much the first owner of the car. Whoever had it before, I don't know if it was a leftover model or if it was somebody else had it for a year and then he bought it used as the second owner. But regardless, he drove it from 67 to 84 when he got his 85 Buick LeSabre, and then he stopped driving that car. I believe my uncle said he had issues with the transmission. It was doing something funny. So he ended up parking it. It sat in the garage. He drove the Buick, and that was it. It sat there. My uncle was considering doing something with it. It never happened, though, and it sat in the garage until he passed away in 2010. Now, that's where I come in. Just got my license like a year ago. Just started working on cars like heavily at that point. Being I have my own car, I can actually do whatever I want on it and tinker with it. So my family asked me if I wanted to mess around with the Newport, just to kind of, you know, throw a battery in it, get it cleaned up, because they wanted to sell it. My uncle didn't have any intentions of doing anything with it. Once again, you know, it's a 4-door Newport. There was nothing special about it. But to me, I personally wanted to keep it. Now, once again, just having my license, I didn't have money to store it. I didn't have money to insure it. My mother didn't want me driving it because, well, you know, it's a 66. It has lap belts, no airbags. I just started driving in New York. So really, they decided to sell the car. I was like, whatever. I did all the work cleaning it up, kind of polished the paint out, went over it, threw a battery in it, did a transmission flush, did a filter, did a bunch of stuff to it. I have a bunch of old, like really bad quality pictures. I'll throw them up as I'm saying this stuff. But pretty much the car just started right up, didn't have to drop the tank or anything. Carburetor was great. AC actually blew ice friggin' cold. Never recharged from 66. Still had the R12 in it. And the only issue that really came about was it wouldn't move out of the garage. So you pop it in gear, you could rev it, it wouldn't do anything. It almost like it had no trans fluid in it. So that's why I dropped the pan, put a filter in, I flushed it out a few times, you know, ran it, dumped it again, and then the car moved. The other thing was it started leaking coolant, and all the freeze plugs in the block were just rotted out. So to make it quick, we just popped out all the old ones. I threw some rubber, like temporary plugs in there. But what happened was we put it on eBay, and it sold for like $2,900, which is like nothing. The guy came to pick it up. He found a tiny bit of rust in the rear trunk well on the right side, and the driver's foot well on the left, kind of towards the rocker in the floorboard. There was like a little patch of rust, maybe like that. So he knocked us down to, I think, like 2,700 or 25 or something like that. He came with a trailer, he loaded it up. The car didn't have a title because New York cars prior to, I believe, the early 70s, they didn't issue titles. You just sold the car with the registration. And the guy told me the car was going to the Netherlands. So I figured, you know, that's the end of it. Not going to see this car ever again.
The in thing to do, like growing a beard.
years down the line, I kind of looked into it. Like, I have old registration cards from like the 70s and the 60s, because when it's sold, it just sold with the most recent one, the last time it was registered. So I had the VIN. I was like looking it up now and then. Nothing came up for VIN search. I did contact maybe like 5 or 8 years later. I don't even know the time frame at this point. But sometime after I messaged the guy, I managed to dig up his username and find an email. And he told me he sold it to the owner of the Volkel, I think that's how you say that, Volkel, V-O-L, the ski company in Germany. He said he sold it to the owner of the warehouse. And it was in Germany. So once again, I kind of did a little search. I found that ski company. I shot some messages with pictures of the car to a few people on their social media page. I never heard of a reply, never got anything back, and that was the end of it. And like I said, at this point, it's 2010, so it's been almost 15 years, so that was probably halfway through. So it was probably about like 7.5, 8 years that I did that. And then just recently, I started thinking about it again because my grandmother passed away. So I'm like, I wonder what happened to the car. And the funny thing is, when we were at the funeral, a few people were asking me about the car too. And it turns out just the day before, I found the friggin' car. So I didn't know where to start this video because I thought it was going to be this cool, long process where you guys get to come on a journey with me and we track this car down, but I found it within 20 minutes of looking this time. I set the VPN to Germany. I started looking by the VIN, nothing came up. Then I went and I looked by just searching 1966 Newport in Google Images under the VPN in Germany. And this is what came up. I knew right away, as soon as I saw the trunk, they still had the dealer tag from Reedman on it. I'm like, that's it. That's the car. Little things like the door panel. I remember when I was cleaning that car up, the door panel on the driver's side had a little kind of half moon cut in like the vinyl on the door panel, still there in the pictures. And everything on this car is original. The seats were never reupholstered. My grandfather had covers on them since day one. I pulled the covers off in 2010 when we were actually taking the photos to sell the car. Now, unfortunately, it's in Germany. I didn't have a way of actually talking to the seller. And it just so happens, right when this started going down and I found it, like 2 days before, I pulled a winner for the headlight giveaway that I did with the Escalade lights. And the winner messaged me on Instagram and he told me, hey, I'm in Germany. I know shipping's gonna suck. I'm willing to pay for shipping. The shipping was gonna cost more than the light, so I ended up just PayPaling him the money for him. And then I found the car 2 days later on this German website, which I couldn't navigate. And I remembered he was in Germany, so I messaged Adrian, which also happens to be the name of the owner of the car, which is weird. So Adrian, who currently owns the Newport, and Adrian, the viewer who won the headlights, he sent a message through the app for me, gave him my info and got his phone number, and then I called the guy, super nice guy, like a nicer guy couldn't have owned the car. Like, he sent me so many pictures. He was so helpful with trying to get everything set up to like make the sale, and just all around great guy. But we talked through WhatsApp, and pretty much just exchanged photos and everything, and without a doubt, I confirmed the VIN. It is 100% definitely the car. He said he bought it from a car dealer 2 years ago, so I don't know where the car was up until that point. However, there's a lot of stuff. Like, I'm still in the process of getting the car. I did pay for it. It actually just was picked up yesterday. I'll put a picture of that on the screen. And at this point, I'm being told right now it's July 24th. The car is supposed to be, there's a boat scheduled for August 1st. It's going to be on the ship for 2 weeks, and it's supposed to be arriving in New York at the port on August 15th. And I don't know how long till I can pick it up. It'd be great if I can have this thing, you know, be cruising around with it for the fall. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. Thanks to Adrian, the viewer, who helped me. I'm sure you're watching this. And thanks to the seller, because, like I said, a nicer guy couldn't actually own the car. He was extremely helpful with this whole process. But that's kind of where I'm at for now. I could go, you know, I've been talking for so long at this point. Let's just see where this goes. I'll check back in with you guys when it's actually, when I get an update or when it's time to actually go pick the car up. All right, everybody. It is a few days later. It's Saturday, July 27th, and it's 9:30 in the morning. Very early. I'm at a dentist appointment. I never get up. When I want to get a lot of stuff done, and I'm like, I'm going to wake up early today. Really early. That's 9 o'clock. So I've been up since 7. So if I look dead, that's the reason why. We got an update. The car has made it to the port. So first of all, the seller, Adrian, once again, just incredible guy. He was paid a few weeks ago, and the car is officially out of his hands, and still he's going out of his way to find stuff out. He called up the shipping company. He actually was able to get photos, or get them to send me photos. I'm going to put them up on the screen. You can see it arrived at the port. It's right next to that Mercedes that it was on the trailer with, and so far so good. It appears to be in the condition that it left his place. But from here on out, it's just going to sit in the port until the middle of next week. So August 1st, they have a boat scheduled, and then it's going to be on the boat for 2 weeks. It's supposed to arrive in New York, I think the port of New York, New Jersey, on August 15th. So it's on the boat for 2 weeks, and then I don't know how long from there until it's in my hands, because the car was built in the United States. Like I said, my grandfather bought it in '67. Then it was shipped out there in 2010. So it's just returning, basically. So I don't, there's not gonna they have to modify anything like emissions wise. Plus I'm pretty sure 25 vehicles 25 years or older, you don't have to do anything with. They don't need like emissions checking or anything like that, even like if it was a German car or something. But the wheels are in motion now. Adrian also went and sent me the documents, so like the title, any registration stuff. We didn't want to put it in the car for obvious reasons, so the shipping company said they could work with copies. So that's on the way. He just sent me the tracking number. The shipping company itself, there aren't any shipping companies that I know of that are like outstanding and great. Like when it came to choosing one, it literally just came down to throwing a dart at a dartboard. Like none of them are incredible, have outstanding reviews. I tried to vet as many as I could, like through Better Business Bureau, to really try to filter them down. Even through there, all the reviews are crap, which I guess, makes sense, because if you're gonna make a review, you're probably not gonna make a review to the Better Business Bureau unless you have a problem. But even the Google reviews, like, which you don't know if real or not, most people, they either have a 5-star review, or they gave a 5-star review saying that everything was great, their car arrived perfect, or it's a 1-star review where everything went wrong, it took forever, and their car came damaged or something. So I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. But for now, yeah, it's moving. So I'll check in with you as soon as I get another update. All right, guys. So the day has finally come. We are going to pick up the Newport. Now it is Monday, the 19th. The car actually arrived a day early. It was projected to hit the port of New York, New Jersey by me on the 15th. It arrived on the 14th. Right now, just grabbing some cash, because apparently you need like somebody with a TWIC card, like an escort, to get in the port to grab the car. And I think they have people there that you could just pay cash, according to Google at least. So I got that covered, and now I'm gonna go grab, I have a car transport trailer from U-Haul reserved. Backup cameras are the freaking greatest invention in history for this kind of thing. She goes. Ooh, I didn't bring a jump pack. That would have sucked. Sounds exactly how I remember it. Yeah, I didn't want to get film too much, but here she is. So I got to bring it out front, pretty much pull it out of the gate and then load it up outside. I didn't think it was gonna fit for a second. Whew. We're good to go. It's about 25 minutes home, so let's get it over there. I'll take a closer look at everything. Holy shit, guys. And here it is. Running like a friggin' absolute top. Remember when we sold it, it was very, very squeaky. Needed some belts. But for the most part, I mean, I had to do a little investigating. The paint on this car was all original when we sold it back in 2010. I know for sure there was a huge chip here that was touched up and it stood out, like really obvious. So they definitely repainted this, but they managed to save the old dealer tag and somehow blend the paint actually really well, because a lot of spots on this car, like over here, see there's a little paint worn away, and especially on the driver's side, these are original. So apparently my grandfather used to hang his arm or his elbow on the window, and that's what this is from. So they did not repaint the whole car. The roof is most likely still original. The hood had a huge mark in it where the paint was kind of cracked and almost melted right here. And it looks like, I guess they must have repainted the hood too. Yeah, because you could tell the original paint's a little, I don't know, it's picking up on camera, it's a little swirly where this is a little shinier. But we could totally do a paint correction on this and it'll look friggin' incredible. But let's go ahead, let's start digging into this thing a little bit, check the fluids, let's get the seat covers off, see how much gas is in it first of all. Ugh. So we have, well, alternator's charging. We got half a tank of gas. I don't think the AC is charged, but I mean, look at this. All this is original, the dashboard. The guy who had the car before me, Adrian, he thought this was restored because he was wondering where like all the chrome and everything would have came from during the restoration. But I told him everything on the car is original. Interior, 100%. The outside was until they did those repairs. But I'm glad they did because it looks so much better. The hood looks great. There used to be a dent right here too. That is just completely gone. Whoever did the body work on this thing and matched the paint really did a friggin' incredible job. Don't Don't go too hard on me here. I don't exactly remember how this hood pops. I think it's something in here. Oh, it's down here. There we go. Oh, yes. Well, right away, they fixed the hood prop. The hood prop over there used to be, when we sold it, it was broken off. It like popped out, so it's nice they got that fixed up. I was told it was rebuilt, so like 5,000 miles ago. I don't know if I believe that. I don't think I believe it. I mean, that's what the seller was told, but if you look at it, like, that's the oil smell. So the valve cover's leaking. Everything here looks like original, which is good. I guess, you know, they preserved the valve covers. They didn't respray them, but I don't know. I definitely want to get underneath, see if what the freeze plugs look like. Oh, it's nice they used a metal fuel filter, not one of those clear plastic death ones. Something that is a little bit concerning, it looks like it might still have the original master cylinder on it when we sold it. And the inside of that looks like absolute diarrhea. I'll put a picture on the screen. Yeah, man, this wasn't rebuilt. 5,000 miles, this was... I'm not seeing it. That's fine though. You can always tackle that someday. Still has the original hood liner intact. The funny thing is, mice never attacked this car. It sat in the garage for years, from like 85 to 2010, and mice never got a hold of anything, which was incredible. I noticed it was missing one of the center caps, and the hubcap looks like the glue just gave out and it fell off. You can get one of those on eBay. And this is dropped. The seller told me it was lowered 2 inches, which you can see. It looks like it's absolutely slammed. I might leave it like that, at least for now, depending on how it rides. I think he said he put blocks in the back to bring the axle up more into the body. And then the front, I think the torsion bars are just cranked down. We'll get these plates on just for the time being. Honestly, I'm kind of happy they didn't really, by the looks of it, they didn't change much. They just fixed the little things the body needed. But as far as the, like the engine and the transmission, it's cool now that I'm actually going to get a chance to do that stuff, being I didn't get to do it 15 years ago when we got rid of it. These are the original seat covers too that I pulled off the car almost 15 years ago. They still stood with the car. Absolutely perfect. And yeah, he drove this car up until 85. So this is the car that, you know, my mother and my aunt and uncle would have sat in the back of. Tires need to be done desperately. I think Adrian told me that from like 2010, I believe, like when we sold the car, they probably put tires on it and that was it. This side is really bad. $11.17, they're not that old. They're from 2017. They are absolutely cracked too. And these look like they're the good tires from Coker, you know, they're not just like eBay specials or anything. Even though like you're so limited to tire selection with this size of wheel, it's a 14-inch wheel, you're kind of stuck with whatever they give you, like whatever they offer. Look how low this is, man. No, this isn't gonna fly in New York. It's probably as low as my Camaro, if not lower. I mean, look at that. They even get a fist in there? Wow. Yeah, I'm probably gonna bring it back up to stock height. So the oil looks good. The transmission? It looks low. It says add a pint. It looks clean though, so. All right. Just gotta throw some trans fluid in it. Oil is perfect, and it's clean too. When we do start doing all the servicing, we'll probably change it out, put some AMS oil in it, put something like high zinc. That's not good. That looks like hell in there. It's like empty and there's just sludge at the bottom. Whew. I'll just call me Mopar Matt at this point, I guess. Because not only do I have this, I don't know if you guys saw the video yet, but that is mine too now. So, yeah, we're gonna be seeing if we could do a revival after it's been sitting since 1991, the year of my birth. I do have these old keys that were my grandfather's for this car that we just found not too long ago. So I'm wondering, I mean, it doesn't look like they changed any of the locks. I don't know what's what. They still work. What do we got? We maybe have a toolkit of some kind? These might be triangles. Triangles. We have some German triangles now. That's pretty cool. German first aid kit. Got a club. I remember this car had some rust. I thought it was in the trunk well there. And then I remember they said, I think it may have been, because it looks like this was resprayed, doesn't it? Yeah. So I think there used to be rust in here, and it looks like it was taken care of. So that's nice, because if you know me, I absolutely hate having to deal with rust in bodywork, which is really funny, because that car over there, whoo, if you didn't see that video yet, it's coming, and it's probably my worst nightmare. Oh yeah, we have some weird wires hanging by the transmission. Adrian, the previous owner, told me about. I told him not to worry about it. I'll take a look when I get it here. So we got that to take care of. Original gas tank, like the original undercoating under there. I don't know, that actually looks normal. So maybe that wasn't the rust spot. It may have actually been the, I think it was the quarter. That's what I'm thinking. Look at this one. This quarter looks a little rough. The camera will focus. The edge looks a little rough, which is like, you know, factory. Then if you look at this one, look at how crisp that is. And there's not really any undercoating in there. So yeah, that makes sense then. Oh yeah, that was replaced. So they did lower quarters. That's where the rust was that the original buyer from 2010 was complaining about. Still has the reflectors on it under the Newport that my grandfather put on when we sold it. It's been there probably since new. Whew, I can't believe I got it back. I was not expecting to ever get it back. Yet here it is. I really want to wash it because it's been on that boat for like 2 weeks, close to 2 weeks. What I could do to get that salt water off the chrome. I already see water leaking inside the car. It still looks like it has the, all the door seals are still original too. windshield wipers. Ooh, look at that. Holy crap, this is nerve-wracking. I measured, believe me. It should fit. Another 1.5 feet or so. That's the tire stop. Oh, God. How was the carbon monoxide not going off now? All right, so this is the next day. I got the car in the garage. I want to pull the wheels off, start just kind of digging into it, see where we're at with the brakes. I already ordered some tires for it. And see what's going on with the suspension to try to get it raised back up to stock height, because I think there are blocks in the back I need to remove. Let's see, let's give her a nice cold start. Beautiful. The cold light on the dash is working. This thing doesn't have a temp gauge. So you got a little green cold light, and then if the engine overheats, you get a hot light, which you never want to see. So one more quick look under the hood. I was talking to my uncle about the car. He couldn't believe I was able to get it back. Just the fact that I finally found it and it happened to be for sale, and I went through the effort of getting it shipped over and everything. It was incredible. Like, nobody thought they'd ever see this car again. But we were talking about a few things, and he said that the car was actually parked because it had a lifter problem. So my grandfather was driving it with a tick for like a certain number of years, and you know, before that, he pulled one of the valve covers off, and he saw that the valve stem was worn down. He was thinking maybe you could pull it off, throw some lifters or something in it, but the valve, it needed a valve job, so he threw it back together, and that was it. It just ticked, and it was like that until we sold it. So we're assuming maybe they just fixed the tick, because it runs great now. There's no tick whatsoever. So maybe they just did the top end and some freeze plugs, and that's what, you know, the dealer was calling a rebuild when they sold it, because everything on this thing, it looks exactly the same. Like just the amount of dirt and the crust on the valve covers. I mean, it's probably been like 12, 13 years since any of that work was done, and maybe it was rebuilt. Because the previous owner told me they said 5,000 miles ago. But I mean, this car only went, I think, like just under 15,000 miles over the course of 15 years. So it could have been done a while ago. But everything is like still there. It still has the original 66 paint matching water pump on it. The fan clutch was replaced. It looks like it has a new power steering hose, and the alternator looks like it was replaced. Carburetor is the same, looks just as crusty as it did when it left. It runs perfectly fine, starts right up. But under here, I think all we're gonna do is a nice cleaning, and we'll do a flush on the cooling system. And I wanna check the brakes and maybe do something about the fluid if it still looks absolutely abysmal. Other than that, I think it's just clean it and just kind of leave it the way it is, because the fact that everything's still original and it's still running the way it is when it was built back in '66, it's kind of incredible. The thing is so low, the jack doesn't even fit under it. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta get the ramps first. So the cross member is slightly lower than my low profile jack. Looks like it's got a new fuel pump on it. Might have new plugs. I guess they look like new plugs. I'm trying to get to the freeze plugs. I think I got to ditch the creeper. The trans is leaking, so that band's got to come off. Yes! Huh. It's weird. It's like they have... There's new freeze plugs, but they put the little warranty thing on there, almost like it's like a... I guess maybe if one pops out, they want to know if you overheated the motor. Huh. You can see because it's so freaking low. That was when I put it on the trailer. It literally just scraped on the trailer of the frame. So it has all new freeze plugs. That's nice, because like I said, when we left, this is the one that blew out, and I think this one was leaking. So multiples were, I just put temporary rubber plugs in them. So the fact that was taken care of, that's very nice. Suspension, it still has the original shocks from '66. And at least the boots, original ball joint boots, all still intact. You can't freaking buy a ball joint like that anymore. And she's definitely a little seepy. She's sweating a bit. We have a little bit of oil back there. Hopefully that's just coming down from the valve cover. And yeah, you can see the transmission. It's pretty friggin' leaky. Is it coming from the bell housing? It might be coming from the bell housing, which might mean it's the seal. All right, check this out. I don't know if you can hear it, that's crunching. It has the original lower radiator hose, which really has me guessing how if they pulled the heads, you know, they think they would have flushed the cooling system out, because it has a new upper radiator hose. That's really soft too. I'd like to get a replacement for that. You can see the clear line of filth and then threads. So I'm just gonna zip that back into that point. Same with the other side. And I think we could ditch the ramps and the jack will get under it and we'll be able to lift it high enough. All right, so we're back to the dirt. Well, you can't see threads on that side. One more side to go. Did I mention I'm out of shape yet? Yeah, there we go. All right, I can fine tune it later, that's fine. Whew. At least we're back in the general area. So those are the wires we got hanging underneath the previous owner told me about. So we're gonna just snip off the two that aren't being used and we'll tie up the rest. You see the pan's leaking. Looks like somebody had this down after me. So I put a black gasket. I'm pretty sure I put a black gasket on. It may have been cork, but it's all like peeling out from the pan now. So that's gonna have to get changed. We'll throw a new filter in it, I guess. And then all of this should be remedied, or at least most of it, when the valve covers, gaskets are done. So we'll probably do those at the same time. But I mean, look under here, like all of this. It's so friggin' clean underneath. No rust anywhere. It's incredible. For the most part, the original exhaust system minus a muffler. Somebody swapped the muffler out. And it looks like it's just a stock replacement. All right, here we go. Let's get this thing down. Get it off the ramps. And then we'll go and put the jack back under it. Get it on stand so we get the wheels off. Oh yeah, she's back to her proper height. I gotta ditch the wheel chock. Hey, that's a little better. Yeah, that's where she used to sit. Actually, it doesn't look too bad, just because I guess it has the skirt on the back. You can't really see the wheel gap. All right, let's see what we got back here. Well, it looks like that's definitely probably the same shock it left with. Well, we got a new brake hose Probably original brake lines. Yeah, so this is what we gotta do. We gotta pull that brick out of there. So that's like a 2-inch block that just spaces the axle up further to the body. And I'm probably gonna have to I'm definitely gonna have to shorten those U-bolts. Unless I just get replacements, I could probably just cut them. It still has the original brake drums. I know that because it still has the just as crusty, let's see it, just as crusty spring around it. So brake drums were never changed. And it actually looks like that wheel cylinder. Ugh. That looks a little wet, doesn't it? And that brake line looks like it's holding on with a hope and a dream. Okay. There we go. Oh yeah, they painted these guys. Oh, a lot of spiders in there. Sorry, fellas. All right, fresh battery. That does not feel good. We'll come back to that one. Dude, these are all, what the hell? You know what I did wrong. I know what I did wrong. Reverse thread. That could have ended so badly if I went straight with this gun. And I'll tell you right now, I would have broke all of them. So yeah, the left side of the car has left-handed thread. That one's a little, she lost some threads. I won't worry about that right now. Can't believe I caught that. For sure. I should have broke all those off. Ooh, the stud looks fine. I'll just throw a new lug nut on that. We'll be good to go. Yeah, so this has the original friggin' drums on it, which concerns the hell out of me. They could have been cut. Ugh, yeah. Probably the original shoes, possibly asbestos, I don't know. So we're gonna want some wheel cylinders. The shoes actually look all right. It hasn't actually leaked enough to like get into the brake shoes or anything. Ooh. Huh? I'd use a repack. Yeah, bearings could use a repack. We're losing our dust cap. It's not whacked on all the way. Alright, so unfortunately I ran out of battery on my mic, so the sound is probably going to be god-awful, but I want to get this drum off. I want to at least see what's going on. I backed the shoe off, the adjuster, like really, really far. There's no reason why this shouldn't come off. Like, look how much play there is in it. Actually, now that so like, it's almost like maybe the hub is holding it up. I'm not really sure. So let's go ahead and pull this off. I'm gonna pull it off with the hub and see if it's gonna slide off for us. I don't think these drums have ever been pulled. Like, I'm sure, you know, so my grandfather was driving it. My uncle was probably doing work to it. He probably did the brakes on it, but oh. Well, the wheel cylinders up here look all right. They may have been, oh shit, they're full of, nope, they're not all right. They're leaking. These probably, yeah, and that's what the brake fluid looked like back in 2010. So we have our work cut out for us with this one. I feel bad for the guy who was driving, I bought it from, because he was driving it around. You know, I mean, everything's intact, but the dealer who sold it to him probably made it seem like the whole thing was just redone. You know, if you think if they're saying the engine's rebuilt, you would assume, you know, the brake system was probably at least, you know, a drum was probably removed, possibly, at one point. Drums still look great. Probably just going to leave these original guys on here. and tighten up the shoes. I think we'll wrap this thing up. I gotta get parts before we really do anything else. All right, one last thing. I gotta know what the inside of this Master looks like. Ah! There's no brake fluid at all. Yeah, that's gonna need to be addressed. I guess we're ordering wheel cylinders all around. We'll get some shoes all around. We'll run the original drums. Maybe we can find a decent reman Master. We'll throw one of them into. Look at all the travelers we have. All the German bugs. All right, so it is the next day. And all I want to do to finish this one up, because I got parts on order, is pull this back out. And we're gonna pull those blocks out of the rear suspension. And then we'll kind of fine tune the torsion bars to get the ride where it needs to be. Ugh. Let's see, cold start number 2. I didn't even realize this car is a, it's a unibody. I thought it was a, I thought it had a frame. Because it's got a beefy ass frame from there at the end of the torsion bar forward. And then from here all the way back, it looks like a regular frame, but in the middle, there's nothing there. It's just like a unibody. It's just like floorboards. I thought for sure, being it has the there's no B pillar. I thought it had a frame. No, it does not. It's just sitting here, I'm assuming. Axle up a little more. Beautiful. I'm just gonna pry bar in there. We'll doink that off. There we go. Yeah, it's aluminum spacer. So the key to doing this as painlessly as possible, put the bolts or the nuts on the U-bolts first. At least that's what I do. That way when you cut them, it'll sort of clean the threads up as you back them off. Perfect. This is actually the last one. Pop these two on and we can lower it down. Let's bring this guy up, get the shock slip back in. This thing's gonna probably ride so much better. I mean, I only took it around the block, but it was very, 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 very boaty. And of course, it's going to be extremely boaty, but I think the fact that the torsion bars were so bottomed out, it was kind of sloppy. There's hardly any spring pressure. Perfect. All right. Beautiful. All right, there we go. I probably gotta take a little more off, but I guess it's better to have more than less. At least they're not like hanging down behind the drums now, or below the drums. So next up, it'd probably be wise to at least check the diff. See what we got for fluid. This is another thing that I feel like was probably never checked. God. Ugh. Diff fluid's fine. Tires are supposed to be coming today, by the way. Ordered them like 2 days ago. I got them from Priority Tire. I used a Simple Tire for a while. Then I was Googling the size for this, and Priority came up, and I got like a set of 4 white walls for like 360 bucks shipped. It's a 215 75 14. And I did come across these exact tires that are on here. These from Coker Tire, the American Classics. But I mean, this tire's from 2017. And yeah, that's old, but they are friggin' cracked to shit. So I'm like, I get the cheaper tires. You know, why spend all that money on these if they're gonna, like, another like 7 years or so, they're gonna be cracked to shit again. Perfect. All right, down she goes. Perfect, there we go. That's where she's supposed to sit. All right, so I just came in and I lowered the torsion bar on the driver's side just a little bit because it was sitting a little bit higher on that side. Drove it up and down the driveway a few times. It seemed to level out, so I'm happy with where it is. One last thing I want to do, which is put the permanent plates that are going to be on this thing. Let's slap them on. So I don't know how it works everywhere else, but in New York, if you put classic insurance on a car, you can get classic registration. It probably works the same way in most states. So what I found up in the attic were these guys. They're actually plates. I think New York issued these in like the early 70s. I was initially going to put plates from 66 on this, which is the blue with the yellow text or like the orange text. But then I found these, and my uncle said these are the actual plates that were on this thing at one time. So I figured that'll be cool. We'll throw these on. I also managed to find some like almost new plate frames from probably like the 70s or the 80s. So we'll throw them on there. And then on top of that, I found this, which was just pretty cool. I'll probably just leave it in the car. This is the actual temp tag from when my grandfather bought the car in '68. So we bought it September 7th, '68. Chrysler checked the VIN matches to further confirm that this was his car. And yeah, that's the temporary tag that he got when he bought this thing from Reedman. These guys are gonna have to go on the wall or something for sure. Perfect, that'll do for now. And for now, it's gonna have to do. I gotta get a kit so I can put screws in the top. And there we go, everybody. The Newport is back home. I can't believe I was able to find it. Honestly, like, the VIN number showed nothing. Even using the VPN, nothing came up by the VIN. I thought for sure, oh, I have the VIN, I'll be able to find it someday. But the thing that did it is just VPN in Germany, Google search 1966 Chrysler Newport, and then just look through the first to second page of images. And seeing a little tiny thumbnail, and that's how I found it. Absolutely Unbelievable. So from here on out, I have a lot of stuff kind of on order. We'll probably do at least another one or maybe 2 videos on this, depending if it fights me or not. I'm glad, you know, the suspension thing's taken care of. She's back at normal height. Like I said, the tires are on the way. So I got some, you know, 215, 75, 14 white walls. I got a new hubcap for the side that's missing the center cap. And then I went ahead, I ordered brake shoes front and rear, wheel cylinders front and rear. I got a master cylinder, same thing that's on there, just, you know, single chamber. Valve cover gaskets, got a transpan gasket and filter. U-bolts I don't need to buy because I cut down the ones that were on there. Battery, I don't think it's going to need a battery. It seems to be fine now. The more I run it, it's kind of getting charged up. AC refrigerant, I'm actually going to track down. I got a few leads on some R12. So next video, I think we're going to go ahead, top that off. Because in that system, it's going to work the best. R12, it's going to blow ice freaking cold. You could retrofit it to 134, but it's not going to work as well as the R12 unless you go and you get a different condenser and you do all that crap. Trying to keep it as original looking as possible under there. Radiator hoses. The lower radiator hose is definitely still original from 66, so we want to get that changed out. I'm going to get the thermostat housing gasket because it looks like it's leaking a little bit. It's a little crusty. Power steering, got to take care of that low pressure hose. Going to throw an air filter at it. I got an oil pressure switch on order, and then I ordered just regular sealed beam headlights so we could swap out whatever retrofit was put in there. And I got pigtails for those. So that's all the stuff we're going to be taking care of in the next video. If time allows, we will also buff it out and kind of detail under the hood and everything and get the tires on. That's why I say maybe at least 1, possibly 2 more videos. And then we have the other 60s Mopar that I kind of tease you guys with a little picture on my community tab and Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, definitely take a look at the link below. Hop on over there because I do post little kind of teaser things for stuff that will be coming to the channel. Now, I know everybody wants to know what is the grand total for this. Well, first of all, I want to thank Adrian, both the subscriber to the channel who got me in touch with Adrian, the previous owner of the car, because he was extremely helpful in getting this all set up. Like, he just went out of his way to send me so many pictures of the car, to just send me the documents instead of just throwing the title and everything in the car. He mailed them to me so nothing got lost. He took pictures of them loading the car up. He sent me just videos of him driving it around. Like, he was super, super helpful. But like I said earlier, a nicer guy couldn't have bought this car. Now, as for the cost, as you guys saw on the listing, this thing came in at I think it was 23,500 euros, which was converted to about $26,100. I thought all in I was at about 25,000. That's what I've been telling people. It's actually more than that. So I paid 26,100 for the car. I asked Adrian if he would go lower. He showed me the listing of when he bought it, which was higher. He paid a couple thousand more, so I'm like, whatever, you know. I knew this car was going to be more money when I went to Germany if I ever got it back. I knew I was going to easily be paying, you know, 4 or 5 times the price they go for here. You know, it's a 60s Chrysler 4-door. They're really not worth anything here. So I knew I was going to be paying that premium. Once again, I didn't care. It's my grandfather's car. I wanted it back. I didn't buy this to try to flip it or sell it. Bought it to keep as a cruiser and to essentially keep forever. Now, 23,500 for the car, converted to 26,100 US dollars. On top of that, shipping was $4,997 plus $180 for the customs. I didn't have to pay tax on it. I'm assuming because it came back to the US. The car was originally built here. So I didn't really have to pay, you know, if it was a German car, I probably would have had to pay, would have been like 2.5%. And that shipping cost, that pretty much $5,000 included $500 I put on it for insurance. And shout out to the shipping company, by the way, CFR Classic / CFR Rinkins. Is it Rinkins? CFR. They did a great job with the car. I paid for roll-on, roll-off. I didn't put it in a container. The car came spotless, exactly how it left Adrian's in Germany. And I got it really, really quick. It was only at the port for maybe like 2 days before I was able to go and pick it up. And it was only on the boat for like a little under 2 weeks. So incredible. Grand total, $31,277. I mean, if you think about it, if you're going to buy a new car today, you get an average, probably, nicely optioned economy car, maybe Civic, Accord for that money. It's like, I'd rather have this. And I don't mind. I'm going to probably take this to shows. I'm going to definitely cruise around in it. I'm planning to leave it as original as possible, with the exception of probably doing a couple of things. I want to try to get the radio working, possibly just add Bluetooth to the AM radio. And honestly, that's probably it. I can't really see myself doing anything else to it. And it's just going to be maintaining it, cruising around with it. It's going to be great when fall comes around. And I couldn't be happier to get it back. The fact that it's in like such great condition, like it's in the same shape pretty much like when it left, a little bit better because they fixed some of the body work, but I thought for sure it would have been, I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe it would have been crashed. I mean, the funny thing is, well, it's not really funny. The fact that there was like no brake fluid in there, I don't know how much longer this car could have been around. If the previous owner didn't have that checked, he could have ran out of brake fluid. It could have lost brakes. It could have got damaged. He could have got hurt. I'm glad I caught that. And the car came back at like the right time. Everything just kind of lined up. I found it at the right time. It was actually for sale, and it all worked out, and it's back. It is back.